Right, good morning. So what we're going to do today, what I planned, is we're going to be doing this. The theme for the classes at the moment for this term, as well as all the other stuff, is a bit of balance going into it as well. So improving, training our balance. That's how I would phrase it. So there's a little bit of that, tiny bit of that in the core, in today's class. There's also, we're going to be doing hips, shoulders, obviously the core, obviously front, side and back, obviously. I think that's it. I think that's it. So, but the extra added, the one I wanted to say was it's the balance, and it's very, very simple, the balance stuff today. All right, so we're going to start lying down, finding our core. So if you could just make sure you've got a ball block handy, or two hand, but not in the way at the moment. And what I'd like you to do is to lie down on your back with your knees bent. Settle the head. Now if you want something underneath your head, please put something underneath your head. Might be something nice and soft. Just only if you feel like your head is being thrown back. So if your shoulders and neck are quite tight, you might find that actually you want a little bit underneath your neck. You could use one of those balls there as well. And then just settling the feet are hip distance apart. Let the hands come onto the abdomen so you can feel into the abdomen. And then what I'd like you to do, we're going to do some bracing in the core, effectively zipping up the core. So what I'd like you to do is, just to help you feel it, you're going to do a small arch in your back. And then as you exhale, flatten the back and then just feel the tummy drawing into the navel. So the sides of the waist, think about the sides of the waist coming in towards the navel as you press your back down. And then you release and you do a little arch of the back. So take an inhale, don't worry about sort of the breath too much, but it's an inhale and then you exhale, flatten the back and then scoop in. Sensing it with your hands, and then you pause there and you might breathe, you might not. And then we're going to do that same thing again. So you inhale and then as you exhale you press the back down into the floor and scoop in. So you really are trying to make it very, I'm not asking you to do any movement, much movement, you're just engaging into the core. Again, inhale to arch, that's your release. And then exhale to flatten and scoop in. So I want you to feel that the tummy is drawing in and up underneath the rib cage. So if you're familiar with Uddiyana Bandha, you've got a little bit of that going on, even though you can talk. Well, you're not talking, I'm talking, but I've got it on. So I can feel it. It's like that stomach lock, but it's not so strong. Again, one more time, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, press the back down to the floor. Feel that tummy drawing in, scooping in and up. So if you sort of prod around, you should hopefully feel that the sides of the waist are engaged into this process as well. Your transverse abdominal are working. Everything is working. So holding there. Now what I'd like you to do is just to hold and breathe, but hold it as strongly as you can, still pressing the back down into the floor. So all you're doing, and the hands are there just to help you sense into it, to keep your mind focused on the core. Now, if you release for a moment, and then bring the knees directly above your hips, and then lift your shins up. Hands again are going to go onto your onto the ribs, onto the, so thumbs on the ribs, and then fingers on the hip bones. What I'd like you to do is, again, press your back down to the floor, grip into the tummy so you can feel things going on in the tummy, and then take your right heel down to the floor. So you just tap it lightly down on the floor, lift it back up again, and then you get to release the effort. So we take an inhale, you're only going to move with the bracing of the core. So press the back down to the floor, start to lower your left heel down to the floor. It's all about the back, it's nothing to do with the leg. Lifting up, and then again you relax. Tilt the pelvis forward, arch the back. Again, press the back down to the floor. There's too much to say, I have to say. So drop the right heel down. Keep bracing into the core, lifting up. Relax for a moment. Take an inhale. As you exhale, press the back down to the floor. Lower your left heel down. Lift the left heel up. Relax again. Again, take an inhale. As you exhale, press the back down to the floor. Lower your right heel down. Slowly pausing for a moment. Really pause. Have you got that core switched on? Lifting up, relax. Take an inhale. As you exhale, press the back down to the floor. Lower your left heel down to the floor. Pause for a moment. And then come back up. Again, release, arch the back. As you exhale, press the back down to the floor, lower your right heel down, but it's all about pressing the back down to the floor. Pause for a moment and then lift up again. Relax, take an inhale. As you exhale, press the back down to the floor. Slowly lower your left heel down to the floor. Pause for a moment, still with the back engaged or core engaged, lifting back up. Relax. We're going to do it one more time. Take an inhale. As you exhale, press the back down to the floor. Lower your right heel down with a little mini pause. And then lifting up. Relax. Take an inhale. As you exhale, press the back down to the floor. Slowly lower your left heel to the floor. Slowly. So I know it's like mean. And then lifting up. Relax. Please bring your knees into the chest and then just slowly rock from side to side. So I know that was a bit intense. There seemed to be an awful lot to say. So you're rocking from side to side. And then come back into the middle. Take your hands now onto the front of your thighs, just above your knees. Please lift your shins. Take an inhale, same principle. Take an inhale. As you exhale, press the back down into the floor, but this time you're going to press your hands into your thighs and your thighs into your hands. Holding there nice and steady for 5. Keep pressing the back down to the floor. 4. Drawing the tummy in. 3. And 2. And 1. And then bring the knees into the chest just for a moment of relief. And rock from side to side. Now we're going to change that slightly. It's the same setup, but what I'd like you to do is you're going to let, if I just explain it because it's new, you're going to let your hands win and then you're going to let your legs win. So when you're setting up and I say to take the inhale and press your hands into your thighs and your lower back to the floor, call that 50-50 because you're not moving. And then what I'd like you to do is you're going to press your leg, let your hands win. So you could think of it as being 60-40, and then you let your legs win, so you come in. But what I want you to do is not actually give up the resistance. So you think 50-50, 60-40, 40-60. Think of it like that, okay? So if you set yourself up, hands on the thighs, take an inhale, and then as you exhale, press the back down into the floor. Press the hands into the knees and the knees into the hands. Holding there, but now start to let your hands win. Don't lose the back control. Now start to let your knees win, but don't let the hands stop pressing into your thighs. Let your hands begin to win as you press your back down to the floor. Don't go too far. If you go too far, you'll lose the press of the back down into the floor. Let your legs win, coming in. One more time, let your hands win, but it's all about the back pressing down into the floor. Now let your legs win, but continue to let your legs win until your legs actually come into the chest, and then you're rocking from side to side. Now, we're going to do that again. Yay! One more time. So we're going to do it 3 times. In, out, in, out, in, out. So set yourself up, hands on the thighs. Take an inhale. As you exhale, press the back down to the floor. Press the hands into the knees and the knees into the hands. Start to let your hands win. But it's about pressing the back down to the floor. Start to let your legs win. So you're coming in. So there's not a lot of movement going on. Press the hands away. Draw the knees in. Press the hands away. Can you still press your back down to the floor? Draw the knees in. This time the knees come fully in and you just gently rock from side to side. So just keep there for a moment. Now what I'd like you to do, you're going to use a ball on the next thing. So what I'd like you to do is just to quickly get your ball. So if you have your ball, and now you're going to place the ball between your knees, but slightly, maybe a little bit higher than your knees, maybe just onto the thighs. Set your knees up above your hips and then lift your shins up. Now your hands can be anywhere. We're moving the feet. So just make sure that we don't want to lose the ball. But what I'd like you to do is to have the feet together and then slowly take the feet apart. So that's why I'm sort of saying the ball has to be in the right position, otherwise it just shoots out. So come back in, take an inhale, and then as you exhale, let the feet go away from each other. So you're going knock-kneed. You should be able to feel this in your hips. Come back in, feet together, take an inhale, and then as you exhale, let the feet move away and the knees move slightly down. Pick the knees up and then take the feet together. Take an inhale. As you exhale, move the feet away from each other, only a few inches, but lower your knees. So don't go too far because you'll lose the core engagement. Lift your knees back up, take the feet together. Again, take an inhale. As you exhale, move the feet away from each other. So internal rotation in both hips. Press the back down to the floor as you lower your knees slightly. Pick the knees back up. Take the feet together. Let's do it 2 more times. Move the feet away from each other. Lower the knees slightly, not massively. Lift them up. So you should be able to feel this in your hips. Take the feet together. 1 more time. Move the feet away. Lower the knees. Pick the knees up. Close the feet. Take hold of the ball, set it aside, bring those knees into the chest and just let them hug in for a moment. It's quite a lot to do on that one, so just let your body relax and rest. Now what I'd like you to do is to take your feet to the floor, both feet to the floor, let your hands go alongside the body, and then arch your back, tilting the pelvis forward. Come up into bridge now. Not meant to be mean or nasty, it's just meant to be nice. A release in the body, a counter pose as you come up into bridge. Push the feet down into the floor and then roll yourself all the way down. Tilt the pelvis forward again. Inhale and then exhale. Push down into the feet. Try and get a roll up your back. And then go down again, all the way, 1 more time. So arch the back, and then rolling up, vertebrae by vertebrae, lifting up, holding there for a moment. And then you roll yourself back down again. Go right down to the tailbone, and then relax. Find your ball again. Now the ball is going to go to the front of your right hip. So we're going to go to the hip flexor strengthening movement that we did last time. So you've got this ball in the front of the right hip flexor, and then you bring your right knee into the chest. Hold the right knee with both of your hands, and then you do a little arch in your back, tilting the pelvis forward. And then as you exhale, you flatten the back and you bring that right knee forward. Now try and keep the right knee still as you take your arms away. Now, you can either not release it completely, but if you can take your arms away today and then let your arms go back behind you without moving that right knee. You're holding. And then lift the arms up and re-grip onto your right knee. Now extend your left leg long. Same thing again, you're going to arch your back, tilting the pelvis forward. And then bring that right knee forward. Feel the thigh pressing into the ball. And then release your arms. Arms are parallel, arms go back behind you. So push away that left heel. Take the arms back behind you. You can have the thumbs on the floor, but try not to get the whole of the arm on the floor. Holding there. And then reconnect. Have a little rest, but we've got another one to do. So you arch your back, press the abdomen into the ball, and then press your thigh into the ball, into the abdomen. Release the hands. Take the hands back behind you. Now have awareness now of your left heel. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, start to engage and just see if you could lighten your hips off the floor. I'm not saying lift, I'm just saying lighten. So you're pushing down into your left heel. Relax. Reconnect the hand onto the knee. Let's try that once more. So you arch your back, pressing the abdomen into the ball. Draw the leg into the right leg, still is the last one on this side. Right leg in towards the ball. Take the arms up, take the arms back behind you. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, press down and try and really engage into the core. Try and lighten the hips away from the floor as you hold. And then relax. Bring the knee in towards the chest. Get the ball out of the way. Knee in towards the chest. Keep that leg really heavy and relaxed as you go into a twist. So you're going to roll onto your left side, taking that right knee across. And then just relax there for a moment. So obviously this is a rest. And do the same thing again on the other side in just a moment. So come back into the middle. Hug the right knee in towards the chest and release it to the floor, please. Ball again, but this time on the left side, bringing in your left knee. Now hold on to your left knee with both hands. Arch your back. Pressing the abdomen into the ball, flatten the back, draw that knee forward. Now hold the knee in the same place as you take your arms up towards the ceiling and then back behind you, holding there. And then take the arms up, reconnect with your left leg. Extend your right leg now. Take an inhale, arch the back, press the tummy into the ball. And then flatten the back and press the thigh into the ball. Release the hand hold if you can. Take the arms up and then back behind you, holding there. And then lift the arms up, reconnect to the knee. Arch your back, tilt the pelvis forward. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring the left knee in towards the chest. Try and really press the thigh into the chest as you take your arms up, back behind you, and then have a go at lightening the body. So take an inhale as you exhale, push down into that right thigh and try and lift your thighs or hips off the floor. And then relax, reconnect, hands to the left knee, arch your back. You might find one side much more difficult than the other. That's perfectly normal. So bring your left knee in towards the chest. Feel that left knee coming forward, the right heel pushing back. Arms go up, arms go back behind you. Take an inhale. As you exhale, start to engage the thighs. Push down into that right heel as you lighten the body. Bringing that left knee forward though. Relax. Hold on to the knee, move the ball out of the way, please. And then reward is a recline twist. So taking that left knee across to the right and your left arm is out to the side. Toes breathing there. And then we're back in the middle again. Bring the knees, both knees, to the chest, please. And then rock from side to side. So from here, you can either come up, we're going to do boat. So you can either come up from the side and then come into boat pose, or you could rock along the length of the spine. So if you take the hands behind the knees, if you're going to rock forward, lift your heels up and then begin a gentle rock forward and then go back. Just have a little go a couple of times, rocking forward and back, not too strenuous. And then the next time you come forward, I'd like you to stay there. Lift your shins up. Bring your thighs in towards the chest. So you're thinking about these hip flexors again. And then take the arms forward. Hold there with the chest lifted. Great. Lift the chest, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now either take your feet to the floor, lean forward, rest, or rock back to your shoulders and then come all the way up to boat pose again. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again, either your feet go to the floor or you go back to your shoulders and then you come forward again, boat pose, holding for 5, 4, 3, perfect, 2, and 1, good. Drop the feet to the floor. I'm just going to move back. That's it. Take the feet to the floor, and when you're ready, just let the knees drop out. See how your hips, a little bit of a hip assessment there. So just see how your hips feel, and then just start to lean forward. See how it feels. This is, again, another resting pose. I'm declaring the resting poses. So just resting, breathing, relax the neck, relax the shoulders. Breathe into your body. Now what I'd like you to do is, you can use a ball, but you don't have to use a ball for the next one. And you could argue that one of the movements is easier and one of them is harder with the ball. So we're going to put the ball between the feet. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do, we haven't done this for ages, but if you come onto your heels, I think you can see my feet from here. So if you come onto your heels, I'll just show you. So you think about, this is a heel tap. So you can do a heel tap and then an ankle reach. But then as you do the heel tap, you're going to lean back slightly. So that's going to engage your core. And then you come forward to do the ankle tap. So ankle tap, lean. So you can lean back as far as you like, really. Heel tap. So ankle, heel. Does that make sense? Yeah. Let's give it a go. I think it's easier if you start off with an ankle tap, actually. So bring it in, lift your feet up, try and touch your feet. So you're squeezing yourself in, and then you reach your feet away, open your arms out wide, tap the heels. Come in, ankle, reach for your ankles or your feet, and then tap your heels. Reach for your ankles or your feet, tap your heels. Keep going. So it's just a little bit of control. You're coming in. Again, it's using the hip flexors. Coming in and away. Let's do another 3, 2, 1. Take the feet to the floor. Lean, bring your shoulders forward and relax forward for a moment. So the last thing we're going to do in this position is a twist to work the obliques. So let's just do it today with the feet on the floor. I find it's actually, again, it's easier having the ball in between the knees. So a ball or a block between the knees would be good. And then let the hands come to the heart center in prayer position. Lift the chest up and just begin that process of tapping the same elbow or elbow to the same knee. So it's a gentle twist. Try and keep the legs still. As you start this movement, side to side. So I'm keeping my hands right in the center of my chest as I'm going from side to side, side to side. I'm still squeezing into the ball though. Now I'm going to try and touch the ball. So you can either stick with touching the same knee, same side knee, or you're now going more into the center and you're going to try and tap that ball, keeping the hands in the center of the chest. The final thing is to try and tap your opposite knee. So have a go. If it's too much, you might need to slow it down, but if it's too much, go back one step. So let's do another 5, 4, allowing that twisting, 3, 2, 1. Come back into the middle. Don't have to lift up anything, you're just going to get that ball out of the way. Feet go together, knees drop out to the side. Just feel all tension leaving the hips as you lean forward. So then from here we're going to come into cat pose. So coming onto the hands and knees. And just again, we need to stretch out for a moment. So spread the hands and then begin to do, although you've got your core engaged, begin to do some circles, very small. So circles in cat. So no cat arch, no cat curl, just circling around the knees, the hips and the wrists. And then change the direction. So you can have your toes tucked or not. It doesn't matter, it's according to you, what feels good for you. One more circle. Hopefully your hip flexors feel a little bit more stable now. And then come back onto all fours. Push down into your hands, draw the chest forward, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, tuck the toes, round the back and look towards your knees or your thighs. Inhaling, draw the chest forward. And then again, exhale, tuck the toes, round the back, chin to the chest. Again, inhaling, coming forward. Exhale, round the back. Tuck the chin, chin to the chest. One more time. This time you're going to do a knee lift. So you inhale, exhale, tuck the toes round the back, chin to the chest. Now lift your knee, look towards your knees and hover the knees off the floor. Literally hover them. If it's too strong, take the knees back to the floor. Holding there for 5, 4, 3, 2, that's great, and 1. Now softly lower the knees to the floor. And then relax back for just a moment to take the weight off your wrist. So child pose for just a moment. Now the next thing, what I'd like to do is while you're resting, I'm going to show you the next thing. It's something we've done before, but the reason I want to show you is you've got a couple of options. So the next thing is puppy dog, where you have your hands forward. Now one thing to note is that if you go forward and your hands are on a wooden floor, you really don't want that, because you need to have a good traction with your hands. So make sure you position yourself on your mat so that your knees and your hands are on the mat. You're going to take your hands forward, keeping the hips up in the air. Now that might be enough for you. If it's too much, what I'd like you to do is just to drop the elbows and drop the head down. And that might be enough today. The other thing you can do is you can be here with your head off the floor, trying to get that line in your body. But this is the last thing, is to do cat stretch here, which is very strong on the shoulders. But if your shoulders will do it, it's great. So you drop your chest and you look forward, and then you curl and you round the back and you look towards your knees. Okay, so you've got a couple of options, okay? So if you set yourself up in puppy dog now, in your sort of the right, get your arms nice and wide, If it's really challenging already, you don't need to do the cat curl. You don't have to have your head on the floor. You can have your head on the floor though. So then if you want to try that movement, start to lift the head up, drop the chest and the chin and look forward. Keep the arms straight. And then round the back, look towards your knees or your thighs and hold there for a moment. And then you're going to do it again. So you do an arch, looking forward, chest drops down, and then you curl. So if you can't feel this in your shoulders, you must have extremely flexible shoulders. Again, drop the chest, look forward, arching the back, and then nice and slowly curl, rounding the back, look towards your thighs. Drop the head down, walk your hands in alongside your head, and then come up. If you can tuck your toes, and then come up to kneeling for just a moment and just shake out your arms and your shoulders. You could be kneeling up as an alternative to that. So just see how that feels. Good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the leg out to the side from cat balance. So you need a little bit of space to your side. Most of you have always got lots of space, but you need a little bit of space. Okay? You don't want to be too tight. Sorry, Jean. You don't want to be too tight in. Okay? So come back onto your hands and your knees. Then do the right side first. So start to extend from cat pose with the core engaged. Extend your right leg with the toes tucked, and then float your right leg up. Take the left arm forward and hold there. So you're in cat balance. Now what I'd like you to do is to take your left arm out to the side and your right leg slightly out to the side. Now let your left arm go forward and to the floor. Now what I'd like you to do to start off with, you're going to take your right toes to the floor and then sweep your right leg out to the side and forward towards your right hand. And then take it back to where it came from. Do that again, it's just getting used to that movement, seeing how it feels. So the foot is on the floor, it's sliding on the floor, nice and light. Take the leg back. One more time. Take the leg out to the side and forward. Take the leg out to the side and back. Now pick up the leg and take the leg out to the side with it lifted, just out to the side. Out to the side, hold it, lower the foot to the floor, tuck your left toes, and then lean back for a little stretch there. So inner thigh stretch. And then you come forward. Try now to pick up your right foot, the one that's out to the side. Try and pick it up, take it out to the side, and drop the foot down. Let's try that 2 more times. So we're going to lift up, still right leg, lift up your right leg. Take it out to the side at about 90 degrees. Pause, lower it, and then take your hips back. And what you can do is you can turn your right toes to face up. It might feel like a more natural movement. You're still stretching into that thigh. Come forward, pick up your right foot, and then slowly extend it back behind you, take it down to the floor. One more time, lift the leg up, take it out to the side, take it down to the floor, and then sit back on your left heel. Just stretching into that inner thigh on the right side. Come back and forwards. Pick up your right foot, take it back, and then just drop down onto both of your knees and take child pose for a moment, all weight off your hands. So just working into the hips. So obviously you know you've got to do it on the other side. So, all right, shake out the wrists. So shake out the wrists. And then Come onto your hands and knees again. So we're going to engage into the core first, and then take your left leg back behind, lifting up. So don't lose the back control as you lift up your left leg, and you take your right arm forward, holding there. Now take your right arm out to the side and the left leg slightly out to the side. Take your right arm forward and down to the floor. Now lower your left toes to the floor, and you sweep the leg out to the side and forward, and then out to the side and back. And again, so just moving into that left hip out to the side and back. One more time, out to the side and forward, out to the side and back. Now lift the leg up, and it's going to go out to the side, but only about halfway to hip height. So out to the side, lifted, and then lower the foot to the floor. Tuck your right toes, and then sit back on your right heel, stretching into that left inner thigh. And then come back, lift up the leg, left leg, take it back and drop it down. Only 2 more times, so you should be able to feel this in the legs. So you're lifting up, left leg, take the left leg out to the side. You could always slide it. Pop it down on the floor, sit back on your right heel. Come back up, pick up your left foot, take it back behind you. And just again notice if it's different on this side, if it's harder on this side. Last time, so lifting up your left leg, you take your left leg out to the side, lower it to the floor, pretty slow, and then lean back. So stretch that left inner thigh. Come back up to the middle. Pick up your left foot. Take it back behind you. Drop down onto both knees. And again, just take a moment of pause. All weight off your hands. Just wriggle. You know, I don't know what your wrists are like at the moment, so just wriggle, rub your hands if you need to, shake out your hands. So from here, we're going to go into downward facing dog. We'll be off the wrists in a moment. But downward facing dog is first. So what I'd like you to do is to come up into downward facing dog. Start to alternately bend the knees. See how your heels, I'm not going to do that heel release today, but just notice how your legs feel, how tight your legs feel. And what I'd like you to do today is you're going to do a single forearm drop or a lowering of a single forearm. So if you steady your legs wherever feels comfortable and start to bend your right elbow and lower it down to the floor. And then pick it up and then lower your left elbow. And then pick it up. Try it again. Lower your right forearm. There's a little bit of a twist. Let that twist happen towards the left. Lifting up, and then drop your left forearm and let the body slightly twist towards the right. Come up. Wriggle your feet slightly further away. Come forward to plank. You can lower your knees if you would like to. I'd like to hold plank for a moment. Drawing the chest forward, tuck the tailbone. And then lower your knees and lower the chest all the way down to the floor, please. That's it. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, and then start to lift the chest up into the low cobra position. So just working into your back. And then lower yourself down again, move the hips from side to side, and then do it again. So you're lifting up into a really low cobra. And then drop down again. This time maybe come up a bit higher, but it's completely up to you and how your back feels. So you start off coming up into a low cobra, and then push down into the hands very slowly to rise up into a higher version of your cobra. And then as you lower yourself down, try and draw your chest forward. So extending as you release down. And then try it again. So you're lifting up into a low cobra, and then lifting up a little bit higher. And then as smoothly as you can, lower yourself down again. Once you've lowered yourself down, please come onto your forearms. Again, just shaking into the wrists if you need to. You're on your forearms. And what I'd like you to do is to press down into the forearms and draw the chest forward, tucking the tailbone. So Sphinx pose. Now we're going to do a little flow here as well. So if you think about pushing your hands down into the floor and lightening your elbows. Now you don't have to lift up into seal pose, which is where the arms go fully straight. What you can do is do this hovering of the elbows, which I'm doing, which is it's strong in itself anyway. It's actually probably harder. So you can do a little bit of both. Drop the elbows down, take an inhale, and then lift your tummy away from the floor, rolling up away from the floor. Try and look towards your knees or your thighs. And then roll your thighs down, thighs, hips. Start to come into Sphinx pose, but as soon as you're in Sphinx pose, push into your hands, lighten your elbows, maybe hover here or slowly straighten the elbows to come into seal, but that might be too strong on your back. So you can still do the elbow hover if you prefer. Very, very slowly lower your elbows down as slowly as you can. Once the elbows are grounded, take an inhale, and then as you exhale, lift up away from the floor, rib cage, abdomen, hips away from the floor, getting that curling feeling in the body. And then again, lower yourself down. So returning to your Sphinx pose, take an inhale. As you exhale, lighten the elbows, pushing down into the hands. Maybe you go into seal, maybe you don't. You have to control the lower back the whole time. Very nice. Lower yourself down one more time. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lift. Lift the abdomen away from the floor. Tuck the tailbone, drawing the tummy in. Lowering the thighs. Come back into your normal Sphinx pose, please. And then let your right knee just slide out to the side. Try and flatten your hips as much as possible. So it's much easier if you've got a slidey surface. You might need just to wriggle that right knee further away. So the hips are as flat as you can get them. Drawing the chest forward. So hold Sphinx pose, but lift your right foot away from the floor. So you're doing that rotation, internal rotation in your right hip. And then push, lower the foot to the floor. Try that again. Just lifting the foot. Holding there, you're in quite sort of a good challenging Sphinx pose already. Lower the foot down. One more time, take an inhale. As you exhale, lift your right foot off the floor. So you're rolling onto the front of the thigh. Lower that foot down to the floor. Let's take a twist here. So lift up your right elbow. Take the left arm underneath the right arm, roll onto your left shoulder, the left side of the head, and then go into a twist. So keep your right knee bent, and then take the arm up. Right arm goes up towards the ceiling, and you should be able to come into a reclined twist like that. You just roll with it. Both shoulders on the floor, and the right knee is draped across the body. And I'm going to come out the same way you came in, but ending up in Sphinx pose. So you can straighten your right leg as you come out. So you're back in Sphinx pose. From here, let the left knee go out to the side and just try and sort of slide it long, wriggle it long. So you're in Sphinx pose, looking forward, take an inhale. As you exhale, pick the foot up. So you're rolling the left hip forward and then you drop it down. Again, take an inhale, exhale, lift the foot and then lower it down. Again, lift the foot and then lower it down. From there, lift your left elbow and then take your right arm underneath. That's it. So it should feel logical in the body. Start to roll onto your back. Keep the left knee really bent and come into your reclined twist. And hang out there for a moment. From there, you go back into Sphinx pose. So rolling, straighten the left leg as you come out of it. So you're back in Sphinx pose, and then just relax your body down for a moment. So just resting flat on the floor. Now what I'd like to do before we come up to do the last sort of few hip things, what I was going to suggest we do is a pose called Fallen Angel. That's what I've always called it. It's a front of shoulder stretch. So you're ready to do it. You're on your tummy and you take your arms out to the side, flat. So you're looking down. You're very prone, basically. Now what I'd like to do is to bend your left elbow, placing the left hand underneath the shoulder. So the left elbow is up in the air. And then turn your gaze to look at the left side. And what I'd like to do is you're going to lift up. So you might need to lift the chest a little bit to reposition, but come onto your right side. You're lying on your right side, stacking the hips, stacking the shoulders. If everything feels okay, you can lift up that left leg, which should be the top leg, and then step it back behind you. That's going to make it harder, so just see how things feel. Once you're there, what I'd like to do is you're going to push into both of your hands. So with the breath, you take an inhale. As you exhale, push both of your hands down into the floor. Nothing's going to move. You're just pushing and then you release. Take an inhale. As you exhale, push down. Release and relax. Again, push both hands down. It's not massive, just push. And then relax and soften and just see if you can go a little bit deeper into it now. So you're just turning the chest, turning the hips up towards the ceiling, stretching into the front of the right shoulder. And then we're going to do the same thing again on the other side. So come out slowly, nice and slow. And then take the arms out to the side. So from here, you bend your right elbow, roll onto your left side, and then you're taking your right foot possibly back behind you. If you need to, it could be bent in front of you if you're really having to protect that left shoulder. So bent in front, right knee bent in front is much easier because the hips aren't as stacked. Okay, right foot back behind, harder. Once you set yourself up, take an inhale. As you exhale, push both hands down into the floor and then you release. Again, take an inhale. As you exhale, push both hands down into the floor. Nothing is moving. You release. Again, take an inhale. As you exhale, push down. Release, and just can you relax more deeply into the stretch? Just opening up into the shoulders. And then you roll out of it, coming onto your tummies, taking the hands underneath the shoulders, Come into low cobra to transition back to child pose. And then from here, you're going to come to seated on your right hip with your left knee just behind your right foot. So side seated position. I'm mirroring you. So sitting up now, you might find that a little ball or a block just at the side of the hip, just what you need. So maybe it's a lot easier. So you don't have to use it, but it's quite nice. I'm just sitting up for a moment. So we're going to do that nice spiraling twist, but you might want to work quite gently today. What I'd like you to do is to turn your body towards the right thigh, placing the hands on the floor. Now walk your hands forward and begin to twist towards the right arm. Now that might be enough today, so just see. If it feels okay, pop your left forearm down to the floor and then begin that tucking of the tailbone, draw the tummy in, twisting towards your right hand. Let's take a few breaths there. And then coming up and walk your hands back in. So switch to the other side. So going to the other side, just set yourself up again. You might not need a prop this side, or you might need a prop this side. Just lifting up, sitting up, turn towards your left thigh. Allow both hands to go to the floor. Walking the hands forward. Push down into the hands, tuck the tailbone, engage into the core. Either stay there twisting towards your left hand, or take your right forearm down to the floor. Continue to twist towards your left hand. You're always pulling the tummy in and away. And then slowly make your way back up. Hold on. Sweep, nearly done honestly. Sweep your legs forward, please. Now if you've got a block, if you could use, it's quite handy. The block makes it harder, doesn't make it easier. So you're going to sit on a block if you want to, and then take your feet together in bound angle pose, but coming into quite a tight angle because your hips have been elevated. Now don't push it. If you've got to be careful of your knees, just want to be, don't go crazy on this one, but you should be able to get the shoulders to move a little bit more freely forward because your hips are elevated. If that's not the case, maybe wriggle forward a little bit just to let your sitting bones fall off the block. If you're finding the block is actually stopping you from going into the pose, please take the block away. Personally, this works for me to get it deeper into my hips, but it may not be the case for you. So just have a go at reaching or stretching forward, coming into the hips, so coming into a forward bend in bound angle pose, but up on a block. So just see if you can get into those hips. So just a few breaths. And then we're going to come up. So lifting up, and then bring the knees together and come off the block. From there, we're going to take the legs nice and wide into a wide-legged forward position, forward fold position. So just lifting, picking up the hips, reset the legs, make sure everything feels comfortable. And then just sit up for a moment. You might find that you need to bend your knees. You might find that you need to have your hands back behind you. That is another really useful support. You might find that you want to take your legs a little bit closer together. So you're just giving it a few moments of assessment, body scanning, noticing if you're in a position you can relax into, or if it's just a little bit of torture. So just seeing how it feels. Can you find something that you can almost relax into, but it is very much at your edge? And then just propping yourself up, either with the hands back behind or in front. Try and lift up out of the hip using your side of the core, front and the back. And then what I'd like you to do is turn towards your right leg. Just do a little twist towards your right leg and then fold down over your right leg. Might not be very far. And then walk your hands around to your left leg and fold down over that left leg. And then stay down, walk your hands across to the right leg, fold down over that right leg. And then walk your hands over. Find your left leg, fold down over the left leg. Take yourself back to the middle. And then fold forward. Just as far as feels comfortable for you, using the hands, coming onto the elbows if you can, but don't worry if you can't. You might be just propping yourself up on your hands. Just take a few breaths there. Just leaning yourself forward. Just see how those inner thighs feel. So that inner thigh stretch that we did earlier on in the cat pose, it may have made not a blind bit of difference, but it may have eased things a tiny bit. And then starting to come up, just walk the hands in, little steps. Walk the hands in, grab hold of the back of the knees, and then draw your legs in. Just gather the legs in or knees in towards the chest. Just drop yourself down. The last thing I'd like to do is a seated twist. So if you keep your right knee bent, and then maybe bend the left one as well, coming into Ardha Matsyendrasana, or you can have your left leg straight in front of you. So either or. So it just depends on the hip flexibility on that one. So if you can do both, please bend both legs. Taking your left elbow around the right knee and the right hand back behind. Lift the chest up and then slowly, I said, go easy on this, not too strong a twist, just look over your right shoulder. But try and maintain length in the spine and then rotation in the chest. And then make your way back into the middle, just leaning back into the hands for ease of exit and swapping to the other side, legs round the other way. So the left leg's on the top, left hand back behind, and then the right knee comes in. Sorry, the right elbow goes around the left knee. Lift the chest up and then look over your shoulder, left shoulder. And then again, coming back into the middle, lean back into the hands to release the legs and just move the knees from side to side. I'm just going to change my orientation, but just move, so you're leaning back into your hands, moving the knees from side to side. If you have your fingers facing outwards, and then bring the feet flat to the floor, knees up in the air. Take an inhale as you exhale, lift the hips up, or you can keep the hips down and just arch your back. So we're just lifting up into tabletop, holding there. And then slowly lower yourself down and come to a seated cross-legged position or legs forward. Just sit for a moment. Notice how you feel. So hips, shoulders, drawing the tummy in, elevating the chest. Allow the chin to very slowly drop down to the chest. Again, just noticing how you feel. Hands to heart center in prayer position. Press those palms together, blinking the eyes open. And then nice and slowly lifting up the gaze. Well done. Namaste. I hope that was all right.